What's good, Shadow Realm? It's your boy Reclaim Your Throne coming at you with another crazy video. But first, my goal is to get to 5,000 subscribers by the end of the month. So make sure you go ahead and like, comment, share, subscribe. And you already know, Reclaim Your Throne.
Right here, right now. It's the right time, It's the right sound. Right now. Tell the whole pipe down. Tell that nigga pipe down.
Yes, sir. What about yourself?
I'm good. Let's kick it off and see if we can get them riled up to get in here.
Yeah, man. I mean, I'm actually referencing the data this time. The CDC came out with a report. It says teen girls report record levels of violence, sadness, and self-deletion risk.
Okay.
The CDC survey finds. And I mean, the data is not looking good, man, especially compared to young men.
And that was the first thing I was not attacked, but the first thing that I read was teen girls are depressed because of feminism. This is something that is actually true. I have 5 teen daughters, well, 14 daughters. So this is what they're generally going into that phase from it is pressures from outside in society. Social media has caused these pressures to make them believe that they have to be this boss chick. Also, you got to have a booty. You got to be able to feel that men are not superior to you. You have to put it down, or you're gonna seem weak, which is the masculine features that they're pushing on women. They're being pushed to be something that they don't have to be. There's no strength in saying I'm a strong, independent woman. That is a lot of pressure. That's a lot of pressure. And there's nothing to try to brag about.
And then the thing is, Brother Mark, also a lot of them are saying they independent, but they really not. They're getting not that government assistance. They're getting the baby daddy child support. They're getting alimony. They're getting these subsidies to help them out and assist them in order to just maintain. Yeah, that's the reality. So I'm gonna get into a little of this article, and I'm gonna add some guests to the panel, and we're gonna talk about it because I mean I want to get you guys' take on it. This is coming from the CDC survey. It says teen girls are experiencing record levels of violence, sadness, and self-deletion risk in the United States, according to a CDC and prevention report released Monday. Data shows 57% of high school girls felt persistently sad or hopeless in 2021, a nearly 60% increase and the highest level reported over the past decade, in comparison to 29% of boys the same age reported the same feeling. So let me ask you this. Why do you think teen girls are double, or 2 times more depressed or feeling hopeless than teen boys?
Probably a variety of social factors, right? That would lead to this, I suppose.
Okay, like what social factors do you think are leading to this?
I mean, I'd have to look into the article, maybe look at what sociologists actually say about it. I honestly just from one sister, it's hard to you couldn't ask anyone to make a guess on why does this happen.
I'm just asking you your opinion on that on those specific data points. What's your opinion on to why?
I don't think you can say as to why based on a singular data point, right? That's
I could really
simple
because it's not a data point to me. I'm living with them. I see them every day. I know their expressions, their emotions. I know these things, and that's what gets me about a lot of this stuff is some of the people that are making all of these things are not even living in it, or people that say, "Well, I'm gonna go on the internet." Look, I got studies right here, right here. My daughters are worried about if their edges are right. They're worried about if the wig that they're gonna look like is gonna look like their hair. There are
Mm.
all types of pressures. And the only thing you can't pinpoint is which pressure is going to trigger your child to be in that moment of depression, right? They got to think about their sexuality now. They got
Yeah.
to think about if I sleep with this girl and then I like this boy, now everybody in the school thinks I'm this way. But I don't want to offend these people, but I really would. There are things happening to them that they don't even need to go through. But
Yeah.
society is making it that way because we got to have all these different characteristics. It's no more simplicity to it. Everything has to have some type of negative meaning, even if it's positive to you, and they can't take it.
Yeah. So what about number two? The point number two, where it says intercoursal liberation is making women unhappy. What does the panel have to say about
Well,
that?
that's just statistically untrue. We could go to a variety of data I have on like these casual interactions and how they actually affect people psychologically. One of them was, I believe, a 5-year follow-up off of people from like their younger days. Let's see. Let's go to some studies I have right here. We could talk about one from perspectives on sexual and reproductive health. A study consisting of 1,311 active young adults. 20% reported their encounters were casual in nature recently. The study found no significant differences in the psychological well-being of those who engaged casually versus those who engaged with a more serious partner. So if you would say liberation is like making people more casual and it's harming them, then that would obviously be wrong. We could look at another one.
Is this?
So I got something to say
Where did you
about
say
these
this
numbers.
data is from? Go ahead.
This is from perspectives on sexual and reproductive health.
I got
Eisenberg et
something to
al.
say
09.
about these numbers, and I see a lot of people throw numbers and statistics around from polls. They're not polling everybody, okay? The problem isn't the numbers and all this other stuff. It's deeper than that. You could throw numbers around all day long from biased sources that have an agenda to push. I mean, you can.
So wait, what's the flaw in the can you point to me in the study that I just brought up? The flaw in the methodology, the flaw in the data collection. Can you point to me the specific flaw? Or are you just going to gesture broadly at, oh, it's bad?
What communities are they targeting? What communities are they polling? Are they targeting a certain type of people? Who are they targeting? Who are they talking to?
See, this was
because
for every
person that responds to those, you're going to have other people who have the opposite reaction. So you can't really rely off polls.
Well, then
what you can't rely on.
Okay, so hold on. I've got the document perspectives on intercoursal and reproductive health, volume 41, issue 4. Is that what you're referring to?
No, it was
Marla E. Eisenberg.
Yeah, it was Eisenberg, but not. I don't think that was
Diane M. Ackard, Michael D. Resnick, and Diane Newmark Sainer.
We're looking at the same thing, but you have a different name.
People are putting too much trust in faceless people who put out these deals, and they don't research the background of these pollsters and see their bias. The problem isn't necessarily the depression; it's social media, and I'm just gonna put it out there. Social media, people like the Jenners and all these type of folks are pressuring younger girls to act more adult. And I mean, you can see it in the way they dress from the 90s and the 80s to early 2000s when I graduated high school, and 2010s versus now. You can't tell the difference between a 14-year-old and a 25-year-old. And that's a problem because society is forcing these young girls to become adults much sooner and enter into a world, an adult world, which they are not mentally ready or mature enough for. And that's a fact. I mean, and you can see it with these girls. They're going out at 12, 13 years old and having kids. That's something that didn't happen in the 80s that much. It did happen in certain numbers, but it wasn't as rampant as it is today. It's a moral breakdown due to social media. Apps just like this one, Facebook, Instagram, so on and so forth. And that just comes right back down here to number 3. You have Kim Kardashian pressuring these women to act like this, these young girls to act like this. It's
Do you have any
sad.
proof
And
that
Yeah, so hold on. Let me read an excerpt from this study. It says a large majority of young adults 18 to 24 years old in the United States are sexually active. Furthermore, many adolescents and young adults have sexual partners with whom they are not in committed romantic relationships with, often referred to in popular media as friends with benefits or hookups. For example, in one study, 38% of intercoursal active adolescents had intercourse in the previous year with someone they were not dating. And another 22% of unmarried college students reported that their last intercoursal relationship was with a casual partner. In a study of undergraduate students, 78% had experienced some intercoursal activity with a brief acquaintance or a stranger during their college years. Among these, 48% of males and 33% of females had intercourse as part of those experiences.
would you do me a favor and read the little blurb that's just above that, like just the little conclusion section? Would you mind reading that real quick?
It says young adults who engage in, and here's the conclusion. They have the context, the methods, the results, and the conclusion at the top. For you guys who want to reference the study, young adults who engage in casual intercourse do not appear to be at greater risk for harmful psychological outcomes than intercoursally active young adults in more committed relationships.
That's quite interesting. That seems to be
so. My
defeater
question with that is, with the stigma around mental health and depression, are those people responding to that poll being honest?
Yeah, that and their methods. And let me just give you their methods. In 2003 to 2004, to 2004, a diverse sample of 1,311 intercoursally active young adults. Mean age is 20 and a half, participating in a longitudinal study in Minnesota, completed a survey including measures of intercoursal behavior and psychological well-being. Chi-squared tests were used to compare the prevalence of recent casual partnerships by selected demographic and personal categories. General linear modeling was then used to compare mean levels of each psychological well-being measure between those reporting recent casual partners and those reporting committed partners. Partner type was measured both dichotomously and categorically.
So I have a point to bring up about that.
I want to respond to the point you made about like people might have like this like idea. Well, did they actually use like psychometrically valid scales to determine this? It wasn't just do we ask them if they're depressed, right? There was a large way that they gathered this data.
That's all determined by who? What's the bias of the pollsters? Everyone has a bias, man.
Can you point to me where in the data collection or the methodology, or like how they got this data where it was biased?
The people collecting the data are biased. There always is a bias. There is not one person in this live watching here right now that has not been depressed. Okay, well, I'm making a point. There's not one person in this live right here that has not been depressed over a breakup, that has not been depressed over a letdown. And what's the one thing that humans do? We play it off to the face of the public. We smile it away. We try to act like it wasn't that big of a deal.
That's why in the study they used different measures. They didn't just ask them if they're depressed. They used a ton of measures to determine whether or not they were depressed.
Okay, and it's all biased and it's all crap, man. And that's just what it is.
Here's
all
the
biased
thing.
numbers.
Then you can answer my question and look at the methodology. Tell me where it's wrong. Look at the methodology.
It's all arbitrary metrics, man.
Hold on. Reclaim is trying to talk. Hold on. Reclaim is trying to talk.
Here's the thing. So we can reference this study, and then I can reference another study that pretty much says the complete opposite. But if you read through the study, it tells you that people who are already experiencing like those depressive symptoms are more likely to go to casual relationships.
Yes.
Well, then you're putting the cart before the horse, right?
Hey, can I ask? I want to say something. All right.
Yeah.
The question is sexual liberation is making women unhappy.
Mm-hmm.
The reason that is making them unhappy is because they're being taught that if they want a valued man at all, that first he has to have all of these things lined up, and then they use their sex as power, right? But
Yep.
They don't know what relationships are anymore.
Bingo.
It's all about, look, I have this. The world says that this is special, and that I can give it away to who I want because I'm my own person. And then the older these girls get, it hits them. It's like, wow, wait a minute. My body is being torn down. You know what I'm saying? They don't teach them it's torn down because you see them fixing it up. If your booty sagging, get a Brazilian butt lift.
Host, can I ask you if he's demonstrating at all how this makes him unhappy?
This real onion guy here,
no
he just goes off of what he sees on the internet. He just reads Google and spews points about biased data by biased
I want you to prove it's biased.
And then
I'm just wondering. I'm waiting for that.
Well, I don't know the background of the people that did the study. But for everything that you say, there is a study that says exactly the opposite. Okay.
I mean, now, the host could provide me a study.
The liberation is making women unhappy because they're being used up and tossed to the side without any type of inner soul connection. Okay, and that's a problem. And men are just as responsible for that as women are. Men need to stand up and say, "Hey, I'm not going to engage in this until I put a ring on it and make a commitment to this woman."
Well, and that's where I got to stop you right there because I have another article pulled up that says that 67% of men are actually single, okay, and not in relationships. And then there is even another portion of those men, I think half of those men haven't even had intercourse within the past year or are virgins. So there aren't that many men who are contributing to the increase of hookup culture.
How is this relevant?
It's only because we're talking about hookup culture. We're talking about intercoursal
no, we're talking about negative psychological incomes, right? We're not talking about who's.
All right, well, you want to go with negative psychological income? Let's look at all the.
Hey, I gotta get off here. My phone is dying. I just got done working a 10-hour day.
I'm just waiting for someone other than the host to engage.
All of the apps. I'm telling you why they're unhappy. You have at least 37 apps where young kids can hook up. Do you understand that? And the reason for that is because this sexual liberation is supposed to be cool. So you think that these kids know about these dating apps and they're not out there trying to find a matchup, and it's really quick. You got I saw they got ads on TikTok. Can I get the
causal data on this, making them unhappy?
You got all of this stuff.
Hold on. Let the queen get a word in on this one.
Good evening, guys.
Good evening.
How are y'all doing?
How are you? We're good.
I'm fine. I don't think teen girls are depressed because of feminism.
I haven't read a study on that one either.
I honestly think it's just kids are on the internet and social media way too young. They don't understand what's going on. They're consuming things that they can't mentally understand and emotionally handle. But it has nothing to do with feminism. Honestly, teen boys can be depressed and teen girls can be depressed. And honestly, I feel like when teen boys are depressed, no one looks at that. Like, it's more of stop being a little, and man up. It's actually took serious as emotions. I need y'all to stop using Kim Kardashian as an example, because yes, she is sexually liberated, but if you break down everything, every dude she done had sex with, she's been in a relationship with, or she's been married to.
I wouldn't say every dude, because we don't know who she smashed. We just seen who she was public with.
Ray J confirmed that they were together for about 1.5 years.
Yeah, but I mean, you're kind of just referencing what we see in the media. I'm sure she smashed some dudes who aren't popping. I'm
sure. Like that's everybody. Honestly, like,
yeah.
Are you going to bring everyone?
Since we brought up the Kim K conversation, what do you think about Lil Northwest over here trying to emulate Ice Spice? What do you think about that? Do you think that's healthy for the mental health of a young girl to be emulating Ice Spice as if that's some type of role model that you should be looking up to?
I'm for one not okay with grown-ups using children for fame, especially on the internet. Like, that's for one. For two, absolutely not. Like, North is like 11. And Ice Spice, she sings about nothing but sex.
Yeah, and every time she performs, like all she's doing is kind of bending over and then touching herself, and it's just like, okay, it's kind of getting old, and she doesn't really rap on beat. So I'm just,
I mean,
I'm
personally
sure that has
confused as
anything
to
to
the
do with your
allure.
point at all. Yeah, man.
How does that not have anything to do with my point? We're talking about the mental health of
And you're talking about what
Northwest,
because you think someone is like
and
bad at
she's
singing.
about
Jesus,
to be
man.
a
That's
teen
so
girl.
that's
Onion,
so tangential. It's not even like
Well, I
not
just
even
wanted to
connected.
make the point that I
Hold
don't see the allure besides, you know, her twerking on stage. I mean, there's not much there. I mean, at least you could say that Cardi B and Meg Thee Stallion can stay on beat and they actually got some type of flow, even though they got ghostwriters. But Ice Spice, I mean, it's over here. She can't even stay on beat.
Ice Spice is queen, but I don't feel like talking about that. We could actually get back to the
She
point.
looked great. She looked good.
I mean, at the end of the day, she could be queen, but she's for adults. She's not for children.
Yeah, absolutely.
Big fact.
So do you think she's for children, Real Onion? Do you think like kids should be, you know, listen to Ice Spice?
I could care less who kids listen to. I don't really put much thought into what kids do.
No, but I'm asking, do you think it's healthy?
And that's the problem.
If you had children, do you think it's healthy?
I don't put much stock in what I think children should.
You can't because you don't have kids.
So you don't want to have kids?
I just said I don't put much stock in what children do unless it's like relevant to the situation we're talking about, right?
And now I'm asking you, do you want to have children yourself?
I think this is a pivot. I'm not answering questions about myself.
I mean,
well, don't answer questions.
I feel like
don't give any opinions.
Then why are you here if you don't want to have the conversation?
I mean, I'm willing to have a conversation. We're not having an interview with me though.
But we are having a conversation because technically North would be a perfect example because she is a preteen and her mom puts her in grown situations, which, you know, we can do a ratio on whether that is it harmful or is it helpful. Honestly, it could be neither. I grew up around a whole bunch of hypersexual people, you know, and people who thought, you know, sleeping with multiple people were okay, but, you know, I have my own brain. And at the end of the day, when girls grow up, we all have our own brains and we do what we want to do.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with feminism or sexual liberation. You know, at the end of the day, when it got separated where women can have our own bank accounts, we can go to work, we became our own people. Like, it has nothing to do with no one else is doing.
Hey, Queen, I get what you're saying, and you're right to an extent. Just don't forget that the feminism movement was in the 1950s, and it was started by white women. Now, when they started the movement, they didn't go out. They went and burned their bras, and they wanted voting rights, right? And now, all of a sudden, you know, after they do that, they're back at home. And they tried to pass the torch to the black women, or they did, because our black women are powerful, especially in their speech. So then they tried to weaponize it, but they're sitting at home and they're building families. They even have a word called the nuclear family. That is a white family that has both parents in the household and has a household. But
honestly,
yet, still,
I've never heard anyone but a racist define nuclear family as white.
And black
Onion, I'm talking to Queen. Hold on. I didn't hear you, Queen. I'm sorry. Onion was talking. Say that again.
As of what I've seen, because I've worked with children, so as what I've seen, it's a lot more black parents that are together now than I see white parents. I see a whole bunch of single white parents.
And that is coming true. But guess what? You don't hear many people speaking about it. If you see it in your eyes, but everywhere you look at on the algorithm on TikTok, all you see is separate families. It's I'm single independent. I don't scream out because I'm a man that I'm single and independent. There is no strength in you saying that you're independent. That is trying to cheerlead you to continue that same course of action that is not getting what you want. You know what I'm saying? That makes people unhappy. Let
me ask a question, because a good comment came into the chat. Do you guys think white feminism is different from black feminism?
Definitely.
I mean, if you make the distinction of white feminism, then of
Yes.
course it is, right? Because that would be like basically racist at that point. So,
Okay, so
white
what is
feminism
the difference between white feminism and black feminism? And let the ladies answer first. Let Bamboo get in
disgusting.
here because she hasn't said anything yet.
I ain't never heard of white or black feminism. I thought they was all together, just one big whole.
Okay.
I thought like
So
feminism meant all the women. I ain't think it was separate.
okay, so what does feminism mean to you?
Equal rights for all.
Okay, I agree.
Yeah.
But specifically for women.
Like that's why I said feminism means equal rights for all. How are women depressed because they got equal rights? I just think we shouldn't be pointing the finger at a word. Like, how is a word the reason that women are depressed?
Well,
I think
it's not a
teen
word,
girls
it's a
are
movement.
depressed.
It's a movement.
To be honest, in my opinion, you might experience it differently, but in my opinion, I think teen girls may be depressed because we got toxic mothers that are in competition with their daughters. They view their daughters as competition.
I can agree with that one.
Then they put their daughters through so much because they mad because their daughters look better than them. It mostly be single mothers because they ain't got no man in the house to get them attention. So it might be mothers that be stressing their daughters out, basically. Because they don't want to see their daughters happy. They take from them. They call them B's, H's. They do all type of things.
Wow.
It ain't because of no feminine. It's because of these women. They don't know how to leave their daughters alone.
Woo.
They don't talk about that. I don't never hear that on any other pages.
I don't hear that nowhere neither. That was a hot take, Bamboo.
Yes, it was. Queen.
Okay.
Go ahead.
What do you have to say, Queen? Is there a difference between white feminism and black feminism?
I do, because at the end of the day, with white feminism, like you said, they did all that just to go back home and be stay-at-home moms. They fought for rights to vote, to work, to have all that, to go back home. We never had the right to do nothing but work. That's it. Like, we barely got the right to raise our children.
Yeah. They destroyed our dynamics.
You know, so it's a big difference because, like, more of black feminism, we're literally out here fighting for our lives.
Yeah, I agree.
You know, because white women, they just have to fight because they're women. We have to fight because we're women, and then we have to turn around and fight because of our skin color.
Preach! You better preach it.
Well, that'd be like intersectionality.
You said what?
No, the intersectionality thing that's been created, if we go to an unabridged dictionary, intersectionality is not even in it. All right, I understand the advancement of people, but this intersectionality is a whole thing that's trying to make us forget that we have one innate purpose and we are one people.
I mean,
everybody
you disagreed with what she said, which was the definition
part of the education that's being taught now to sit there and dumb down our thinking. It's to fit a model of, look, you think free. It's the same reason why they're depressed. You thinking free, you're liberated, you know what I'm saying, and you're getting pressure. You're getting all of those pressures because of all this teaching of intersectionality.
I mean, honestly,
wait, I want to respond to
women
that, please.
Are pressured by anyone, they're pressured by men. Like, they're not pressured by other women to do anything.
Yeah. That was a nice
like,
way. Can you define intersectionality?
What about competition?
It depends on what it is.
Well, it does.
Pressured by men. Some things women do can be pressured by other women. You know what I'm saying? So it could be both sides.
Let me ask you this, because I've heard from many women that when they were virgins, basically before they had intercourse, their friend group was kind of, pressuring them and, getting at them about, hey, you still a virgin, you don't know how to do this, you don't know how to do that. So is there any type of like inter influence between women to kind of lose your virginity sooner, or do you think most of the pressure is coming from men who just want to bang them?
I mean, I feel like it comes from both.
Hold on, you said what? Repeat what you said.
Yeah, let me just rephrase the question. So I'm saying, do you think the influence to get women to lose their virginity is coming mainly from women in their friend group and peer pressure, or is it coming from, you know, men just wanting to clap the cheeks? Where's the majority of the influence to lose their virginity coming from?
I know if
think
I
it's
got my way,
both.
it'd
Come
be the
from both.
latter.
I say it come from both. I mean, matter of fact, I wouldn't say it comes from.
I would
I
say
say it probably comes up out the friend group, because you got men that be doing the same thing with their homeboys who could be hurt. Oh man, you ain't getting no play, man. Go over there and do something with that girl. I think it be friends that be pressuring virginity out of little boys and girls. Some of these
one is natural.
the friend group because they ain't birds, so they feel like they gotta try to force they. So they feel like they gotta try to force their homeboy and their homegirls to not be one either.
One is natural and one is pressure.
That's where the hypersexualization comes in. By being peer pressure, thinking everything, all this stuff is okay.
And honestly, let's be for real. Most teenagers who are hyposexual, they have been touched when they were children.
I don't know if there's data.
So one is a natural pressure, and one is not. I mean, if young men, you know, when you were younger, Reclaim, when that moment hit, you were like, ooh, you went in the heat.
Nope.
Yeah.
You went in the heat.
I feel like that's not an excuse.
That pressure, that pressure is gonna happen. It happens with every creature on this planet. You gonna want to mate. You gonna want to mate. You gonna want to mate.
No, I don't know about mating. I just think private sex, but mating, that's something animals.
Well, that's what it is. When you look at it, that's what it is. You're finding a mate.
Hold on, we got a lady requesting. I want to. The conversation is going well, but we gonna give everybody 5 minutes, then we gonna refresh the panel, or at least drop 2 people out to get these new people in, get some new perspectives. But go ahead though.
Well, I'm gonna say this and I'm gonna drop so somebody else can come in though.
Okay.
I respect everybody. Reclaim, you know, if you can't add me, but look, all in all, if we look at all of these topics, even if they switched over and said young men, right, and there was no bias in here, all of this destruction and everything we're talking about, and all this trying to reunite. Who's benefiting from us being separate? Who's benefiting from all of these things that's on this? Somebody's making money. The media's making money, and we're just not paying attention. All right? So real is where, so am I. I appreciate the time, and I'll talk to y'all later.
All right, brother.
I think he needs to take his meds.
So, yeah.
He never answered my question of what intersectionality was. Goodbye. This was boring as hell.
Well, yeah, peer pressure, it can come from both sides. Both can deal with peer pressure coming from the friends. Like male and female both deal with that. You got some men that be pressuring they as teens. They be pressuring their homeboys to lose their virginity.
I mean,
and you got some girls that be pressuring their homegirls to lose theirs simply because they're not virgin. They feel like their friends shouldn't be one either. Peer pressure can start from the friend group before it start with the opposite.
How y'all doing?
Hey, girl.
Hi, beautiful people. Hope you're having a good evening. I've worked in entertainment for over a decade now, empowering women of color in my specific realm of entertainment, which is video games, hosting anything in nerd, male-dominated space. And I feel that many people who speak in generalizations, like people are depressed because of this specifically, is not very well informed, because there are many things that can lead to depression. I had depression when I was young. Why did I have depression when I was young? It was not because of feminism, not when I was a teenager. It was because a man abused me, and then another man abused me. That was in my family. Why? Because in an Asian family, men are dominant. You do not question the man. I was raised to only be a wife. I was raised to only know how to cook and clean and not have a job and marry a rich man. Why? Because it was a male-dominated space.
Were you raised in the States, or where was it?
In the United States, born and raised in California,
okay,
Bay Area. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So, because of that, I grew up depressed. The only times I had ideas and thoughts of self-harm was because I was a teenager raised in a male-dominated house with 6 men who told me that I could not be anything more powerful when I was older. I can only just be a wife. Now, When I escaped, I became who I needed to be now, a woman.
Where was your mother?
My mother was not there because she had me very young.
So what? Your biological father basically got custody?
No, this was my grandparents. My biological father was locked up. So I was raised by both a grandmother and a grandfather in a family where men dominated. Even my grandmother couldn't speak up on her. Even my grandmother saw what was going on, walked in on it, and was telling me, hey, don't tell anyone because we need him in the family.
So you're saying there was like intercoursal abuse?
Not intercourse, thank God, but definitely inappropriate touching. Now that's my story specifically. However, when it comes to depression now, I believe, and I've seen studies, that depression amongst teenagers is so prevalent now because there is an influx of information because of the internet that they're using. They're comparing themselves to 17-year-old influencers that have Lamborghinis and millions of followers, and they feel like they are not living up to that, so they become depressed. And also,
she's so correct.
Thank you. This is also the era of information. We have nothing but internet. We have nothing but kids staying inside technology. I'm 33 years old. I grew up in the cusp of analog and digital. I was outside playing. Kids nowadays are not. They're not getting sunlight. They're not getting exercise. That is also a reason why they are becoming depressed. They're more secluded inside their rooms, doing whatever, playing games, internet stuff.
So let me ask you this, not to cut you off, but who do you think is kind of contributing to the, the beauty standards or the impossible beauty standards? I know we have the BBL culture going on as well. So that and those surgeries are very dangerous, but you still see women in droves going overseas to unaccredited doctors to get these procedures done. Who is who do you think is more responsible for the quote unquote unrealistic beauty standards that have now evolved into dangerous beauty standards?
Sure.
Social media
and 100% entertainment. Entertainment has driven how people look at themselves for decades in marketing. I mean, it's like a whole marketing thing. Look at people who you see on the internet, on TV, in movies now. As a minority woman, who dominated the scene there? White people.
It's all entertainment.
Blonde hair, blue eye. Yeah, it's all entertainment. It's like, oh, if a little girl sees people in entertainment, says, oh my gosh, she's in the stars, she's on movies and stuff like that, of course I want to look like that. It's fully the entertainment industry, which I work in, and I 100% agree that it is a problem.
No, but which demographic do you think is contributing to it more?
I think it's more of the younger generation, females, most especially the younger rappers. They're coming out, they're selling a certain dream and lifestyle to the younger generation of women, making them think that this is how they're living and this is how you're supposed to live if you want to become successful. Like, if you want to be successful, you got to treat men a certain way, you got to be heartless, you can't love. It's just all these things that they are doing to entertain the younger generation is stressing them out, because that's not the real world, that's not the world that they are living in. And a lot of them cannot separate social media from reality, so they become depressed.
Yes. Also, for me personally, I've gotten a breast augmentation. I've gotten two, actually, because I got them replaced. Why? Because in a male-dominated space that I work in, entertainment, gaming, whatever, you were supposed to always look good. You were supposed to fit the quota at a certain job that you're doing. However, even if you do all that, you know what's really messed up in the entertainment industry, or actually in the professional industry, period? If you go into work and your superior is a male and suddenly he comes on to you, what happens if you say no? Well, you're kind of screwed, aren't you? Because there goes your promotion and everything. You're stuck. So
are you saying you got a breast augmentation, ma'am, because you worked in a male-dominated space and you wanted to look good? I'm not following your reason behind getting breast augmentation.
It was a male-dominated space. When I was young, in my early 20s, I used to be a go-go dancer for like all the big raves and stuff. And the look back then, that was influenced by entertainment was larger breast size. I'm Asian. I'm fucking concave if I don't get a boob job. All right.
Mm-hmm.
So I got it done. Did it help my work? Absolutely. In a male dominated space? Absolutely.
So isn't that like something that you personally chose to do to make more money, not necessarily because men pressured you to get a boob job? Like, did any men just, come up to you and say, hey, you'd look hotter with, fake tits or something? Was that a common thing, or did you just notice that the girls with boob jobs were getting more attention?
Oh, no, it was a very common thing. I've been on social media since 2007. Once I became legal, I was modeling, I was go-go dancing, and I had comments online already like, oh, she's so flat-chested and blah, blah, blah. And I was young. I gave into those comments, and I felt, okay, well, I need to get it done because, this is how I'm going to become successful in a very highly visual industry.
So would you say being flat-chested made you feel insecure, and then you went and got the boob job and felt a better sense of physical security or in your attractiveness?
I will say that I was insecure, at one point. Even before, it was like a very strange thing. Before I got my boobs done, I placed in a beauty pageant. So it worked both ways. However, I felt like I would be happier and more secure when I got it done. And I did become more happy and more secure. And
so when you got this boob job, were you in a relationship or
no?
You were single?
Mm-hmm.
And okay, did you ever think to, I guess, consult somebody before you went and got it, or was it just a decision you made on your own?
Plenty. I've asked friends who's gotten it done.
Well,
I've gone to doctors, multiple doctors, to talk about it. I did all my research.
Well,
I don't know why we're focusing on this right now. What I wanted to talk about was depression in teen girls and the sexual liberalization that you think is making women unhappy. Mm-hmm. But that was just a side mention.
So do you think? Okay, so let's talk about it. Do you think women having more sexual partners is making them more happy or less happy?
I feel that women being sexually free, doing whatever they want and not being judged for how many partners they have is making women a lot more happy. Yes, absolutely.
Because they are going to be judged by the men that they end up wanting at the end of that ride, right?
You what? I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you.
I said they are going to be judged by the men that they end up wanting at the end of the ride.
Then that's not the right man. Simple answer.
So, I mean, is that just the answer that you're going to give for every guy who doesn't want a girl who's, been ran through?
Yeah.
So it's just not the right
man. Why would I want to be with a man? Why would any woman want to be with a man who doesn't want to respect her for what she's done in the past, for who she's been with, even though he may have been doing the same exact thing? That means you're two fundamentally different people with different beliefs, and that's not going to work out. And if that's such a big deal for you, it's a deal breaker, then I'm sorry, this is not going to work out. Then you are not the right man. That's all.
So let me ask you this. Do you think most men take issue with a woman who, is very loose with herself?
I would go on. Sorry, Mama. I have been doing all the talking. You go ahead.
I'm sorry. It's like it's not a reality for you to meet a woman who is a virgin, most especially nowadays. It's like it's like this generation of men are looking for women who have little experience in sex, and that's not possible. You had people from your past, she had people from her past. It's not fair to say that a woman is not allowed to sleep with many people in her past because you can be her husband. That's not realistic at all.
I mean, I don't agree with that, man. I mean, my girl right now, she don't got like bodies like that, and that's what I like.
So I do have a question. What do you think happens to a woman physically, psychologically, in the dating world if she's had multiple partners? Now, earlier I heard someone say it ruins their body, right? How?
I didn't say it ruined their body. I think it's more of a psychological thing. I think it affects them when they're getting in, having intercourse with different men, and they're looking or may not be looking for commitment from those men. But let's keep it a buck. A lot of women go into, having sex with guys, and those are the type of guys that they wish that they would commit to them. But a lot of times they just kind of cope and say, oh, well, I didn't want him anyway. I wanted him for the D. But in all actuality, if he wanted to like cuff you up and be your boyfriend, then you would have done it in a heartbeat. So I think a lot of them, women don't take rejection well. So I think a lot of them are going into some of these relationships and they're genuinely thinking that they're going to be able to secure this man. And then it keeps happening where they're having sex with this guy and they think that, oh, this could be the one, this could be my person. And then he's just like, nah, you know what I'm saying? And I see the way that you move. I'm not really trying to cuff it. So I think over time it wears down on them psychologically. And then obviously the older they get, the less attention that they're going to start getting. So it's going to be even harder to secure a man. So.
Got it.
Okay,
So,
can I speak about that? So with what you saying, I understand it. As far as soul ties, I am dating right now, and one thing I do say is like the first thing I tell men is I'm not looking for a relationship. It's not to tell them that, it's not to manipulate them into making me a girlfriend. It's just the simple fact that I know it's very hard for men to stay truthful and loyal and honest to a woman.
mhm.
So I'm telling them that I'm okay with not being a girlfriend, not because I don't feel like I'm worthy of being a girlfriend, but the simple fact that I don't want to put a mental stress on me that's going to cause me anxiety, that's going to make me second guess myself. Because let's be real, men like to play mind games and they like to come in and out of your life. They're not consistent with a lot of things that they do and say. So therefore, in order for my mental health to be stable and be okay, I am going to tell him that I do not want to be a girlfriend. Being a
But
girlfriend is not something to be proud of when every man who have a girlfriend is in the single women DM more than a single man.
isn't that going into a relationship bad faith? I know you probably think that a lot of men cheat, but I think that certain women start picking a certain guy, but a lot of guys are not really out here cheating like that. To keep it
See,
a
I
book,
don't
like
like
it's
that.
hard. It really is hard to cheat. Like this is coming from a dude who's been in multiple relationships. It's not easy to just be out here cheating. Like you really have to. You have to talk a girl up. You got to do all this stuff. Like it's not even like simple to
It,
get a
it's
date out here.
really
So
it's really easy for a man to cheat when the relationship is public, because mostly how a lot of women work, the world is a lot of single people on social media. So if a single person seeing two people in a relationship, for a woman for example, because I'm a woman, so I'm going to speak from a woman point of view. If I seen a man and a woman in a relationship happy and I'm single, I'm going to wish that I have a man that loved me and take care of me the exact same way that woman men love and take care of her. With that being said, I'm going to be watching their relationship and I'm going to be studying their relationship. If something go wrong, I'm going to be one of the first person to slide in his DM. Why? Because I know he's a good man. And that's how social media ruin people's relationships. So it's not that I believe that all men are cheaters. I just know there's a lot of single peoples out here. Once you start to expose your relationship or say you are in a relationship, it's easier for people to have access to that person because now they know that person is worthy to be in a relationship with.
There's also a thing that I saw that people are saying it's because you're shooting cheaters. I don't understand why people say that, because I feel that serial cheaters are predators that hunt for prey. The prey never chooses the predator. It is always the other way around. They know what to do. They know how to manipulate. So I don't understand why people say, well, it's because you're choosing the wrong people. On top of that, I got to go soon because I got to go to work. However, I wanted to say that... Oh, was that me? Or was it...
Sorry.
No,
that's me.
No, you're good. On top of that, the same argument, like, why can't we use towards men? Like, would you feel the same way if a woman said, like earlier, you said, I've been in multiple relationships. So what if your dream girl said, I'm sorry, but I want a virgin also?
Well, usually women don't say that because they want a man who has experience.
Okay, but hypothetically, let's just say it.
If she said she wanted a virgin,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I would just tell her no, you don't, and then I'll show her what she's missing out on.
So women can say that, or men can say
well,
that.
they
Women
can.
can't. You can't accept it, but women have to.
No, I mean you have a choice, but I'm just saying, it more than likely, like if you rack up a whole bunch of bodies, guys just aren't gonna really take you seriously. That's just how it is, honestly.
And that's also can be the same thing to be said about women who don't want men like that. Why would I want every man?
But it's usually not like that though, ma'am. That's what I'm trying to tell you.
And why is it not usually
women
like that?
are willing to.
And why is it not usually like that? It's because for decades men have always been saying that, oh, it's because one key that opens all the locks is a good key, like stuff like that. It was influenced by the patriarchy and the men in the world.
No, it's just that women don't care and men do. That's really it.
I think it's the
just
opposite.
that women. That's something that women. No. But that's something that women don't care about, and that's something that men do. Women want men who are sexually experienced. Men feel more like that they would rather teach a woman with no experience how to please him specifically.
So that's where it also leads to, why do you want a girl that is easily taught, easily manipulated into molding to what you are? What are virgins?
Well,
virgins are young girls, and that is
young girls to ship her into the girl that he want.
That is preying amongst young girls, preying amongst innocent
No, it's not
girls.
preying. It's not preying. It's just a preference, okay? Just like you have women out here who are older women dating younger men as well. So it's not manipulating. These are grown adults making their own decisions. The reality is, as a man, you want a woman who has had, and I mean, don't hang me up on this word, but who has had the least amount of masters, the least amount of leaders, because women want a leader in their man, and they want a guy who's going to teach them something, a guy who's going to give them direction. And you want a woman who pretty much has not had as many different leaders, quote unquote, in her life. So that's really what it is, because you don't want a woman who's been working on another man's program coming up into your situation, because every time every time as a dude, when you're dating a new chick, she always bringing up what her ex did, and you got to remind them, yo, I'm not your ex. This ain't how we do things around here. Boom, boom, bap. You always have to set this new precedent, this new code. And sometimes the women are just stuck in their ways. So however they did their relationship with this guy, who, whatever happened in that situation, it is what it is. It fell through. But the same habits that they pick up in that relationship with that guy, they bring over to the next guy.
Mm-hmm. I don't believe that
when a woman speak about her, I'm sorry. When a woman speak about her ex, it's not because she telling you that's her type of man. She telling you, okay, this is what my ex did to me. He wasn't a good man to me, and this is what I did to make it work. And these are the things that I have to offer. I know I'm a good person, and I know my self-worth, and now I am deciding to do better. But according to men, when women speak about her ex, that means they're comparing them to their ex, and now they have a certain standards that they have to meet, which is her ex.
No.
I'm sorry,
it's not even that. It's not even that. Oh, go ahead.
I'm sorry, I'm gonna hop off.
Yeah, you gotta go.
Work, but just one last bit. I believe that women do not need men, because men are the ones who started wars throughout all the years of throughout all the time. Second of all, what was I gonna say again?
That's a bad faith argument, though. That's a bad faith argument. Men fought oftentimes to keep women safe, though. So that's a bad faith argument, because men fought to defend invaders from foreign lands. So they fought to keep the women in their lives safe.
Invaders that
it started from other men. It started from other men, more ambitious men. But that's what's furthered society. I mean, we can talk about history all we want and the flaws of man, for sure, but at the end of the day, that doesn't negate all the advancements. The positive and the advancements of men have always outweighed the negative, overzealous, maybe even tyrannical nature of. Let's not to mention, it was only a top percentage of men most men were regular broke dudes, you know, farming and working in agriculture or textiles. It wasn't every man. It was just the top percentage of men. And there were some good kings and there were some evil kings. That's just how things are. And there were some good queens and there were some evil queens as well.
Okay, so
I have
one more
one
thing.
question.
So I'm sorry, one more thing. Back to the whole depressed thing. There was a study recently this past week that they've interviewed or they've met people who live in remote villages who lived with a simple life, no technology, no internet, no whatever. And when they were told about people who want to end their lives, they could not fathom the idea of taking your own life. Why? Because they did not understand why you can be so sad. And it can be argued that it's because they had no access to technology, nothing that had to that they had to live up to in this weird world where they're stuck inside and they were outside doing their thing all day. So maybe that is where depression that's where depression is coming from and not feminism, because you can't narrow it down to just one thing. But I'm running late for work. I gotta go. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Gina.
Have a good one. Take care.
All right. You had something to say, Napo?
Yeah, I did have a question. You're saying like most teen girls are depressed because of like feminism? Like most
So I have 3 different points. Teen girls are depressed because of feminism. Sexual liberation is making women unhappy. And the third point is grown women are pressuring teen women or teen girls to become 304s.
I agree with the second one. Yes. The third one, I don't really. The third one, it's kind of like a yes and no type of situation, cause like when you say like teen girls, you talking about them like going to be strippers and OF.
Yeah, just like it's almost like a funnel from the high school straight to intercourse work for like the more, I mean, the top percentile, I would say, of like the hottest girls are like going straight into intercourse work.
But I agree with that point, but I don't think it's all because of grown women saying, "Oh, do this and do that." Yes, they're saying these things, but it's also it's both parts. It's equally men and women's part.
Well, yeah, men are the consumers, but I think a lot of women are enablers, and they're not warning women of the pitfalls of doing this. They're encouraging them to, oh, go get the bag, sis, you know, do all that. And I just think it's negatively affecting, young teen girls' mental health.
I feel like it's more so not just going to get the bag, but a lot of those grown women have been used for sexual gratification when they're younger. So now they're giving this stupid advice to use men for their money, which is not really working. When the man is usually brainwashing the woman who is doing the sex work into doing those things. But it's definitely both parts.
Okay. What about that Gap girl? The Gap girl? I don't want to call you ugly, but that's what your username says, the ugly Gap girl. So
no, yeah, just because I have a gap, and typically, men and women alike like to put me down for it.
You're
so I put it in my username.
You're not ugly though.
But I'm just hopping in because I'm new to the live thing, and I guess I kind of agree, but I also don't understand, so that's why I'm listening too.
Yeah, so we were just kind of wrapping up here. But the 3 points were teen girls are depressed because of feminism. 2, sexual liberation is making women unhappy. 3, grown women are pressuring teen girls to become 304s. And this is coming from an article that reports, and this is a CDC survey that found teen girls report record levels of violence, sadness, and self-deletion risk. So what is kind of your closing thoughts, and then we'll wrap up this live to these 3 points.
Well, first of all, what you mean by 304s, is that like sex work type of stuff?
That's 304 means hoes. It's just like a code.
Because that makes sense. Because I think I saw some dudes live on here called Bryce Wayne's 304, and he would have some lives that were kind of normal, but then in between, like, girls would be like showing things in the middle of it, and I'm like,
okay, yeah, I don't know nothing about that.
So I was like, what? I guess I can kind of agree, just because of celebrity culture and the women in celebrity culture that make young girls confident to display in ways that maybe they naively don't think maturely at the time of that it could be, you know, harming to them. But I don't, you know, that's just kind of my opinion on that. I don't want to say that it's not, because I do see the culture. I am 26, so I'm still kind of young, and I would have to say that the, like, you know, the and some of the stands, the fans and stuff, they're out there as well. So I would say that it does kind of influence.
Okay. Well, yeah, I definitely appreciate the guys and the young ladies' insight on this topic. We have concluded the conversation. We're gonna call her that pretty Gap girl, okay? Because she came in here ugly, now she pretty, she done glowed up. But you already know what it is. It's your boy, Reclaim Your Throne. Make sure you check out my YouTube. Make sure you check out my Instagram for workouts. Also, get the hashtag Reclaim Your Throne Elite D1 training course so that you can the hashtag Reclaim Your Throne Elite D1 training course so that you can lose the weight, get in shape. You already know what it is, man.
Want to become an elite level athlete? Well, look no further. The Reclaim Your Throne Elite D1 training course is all you need to take your performance from subpar to the creme de la creme of athletes all around the world. The purpose of this course is to give you a comprehensive weight training, speed, flexibility, recovery, and endurance program that is meant to prepare young athletes for collegiate and professional sports. This course is packed with over 2 hours of creative, action-packed lifts narrated and coached by yours truly to assure increased strength, speed, flexibility, recovery, and endurance. Hey, I get it. Training alone can be tough and can even make you feel misguided or somewhat unmotivated. But with this course, I walk you step by step through each and every lift to make sure you're using the proper form to prevent injuries and that you're hitting the correct muscle groups to render maximum results. So what are you waiting for? It's now or never. So go ahead and get the training course today so you too can reclaim your throne.